Well, can you see my presentation? Thank you. An important questions which were raised by the previous presenters, especially the last one, Natalia, about the digitalization of economy, of social life, of public life, does not only improve the productivity of labor, industrialization and modernization, etc. But the question was, what is the goal of all these technical improvements? And the goal there may be only one from the point of view of and it was emphasized in the sustainable goals of development by the United Nations organization. It's a provision of decent life standards of people. There are different numbers of these goals, but on the first place, there is the liquidation of poverty and hunger. On the global level, the problem of poverty is still there for all the generations of people, and the human in his or her life goes through different stages where he forms his labor potential, and after the labor ability and during the life well, several presenters mentioned some demographic problems. The elder generation is growing, and there is nothing dangerous in it. Well, there were people are speaking about the demographic crisis, etc., that people live longer. Some of our known economists mentioned that pension provision is not effective course of the state budget, that it's a burden on business, etc. Well, everyone is speaking about it as if a human being, elderly generation, are people who have lost all their human needs and requirements, or the governmental requirement. It's not nothing like that. And here I would like to come to my main idea, which I would like to emphasize, that digitalization means degradation of the human capital and its complete substitution by machines on all the stages of human life. And it's the most dangerous thing when a person is losing his or her well, the elderly generation losing their labor functions. And before the person grows old and becomes old, which is not a marginal, some marginal element of our life, it's just an objective process, and maybe some having some advantages and disadvantages. Before he grows old, he forms in the current economic and social model of pension provision. They form the pension rights in their labor able period of life. And this pension system developed in all the countries showed its effectiveness. The solidarity system, not just collecting system, which is just a propaganda. It shows the major risk for pension system, which is provided by the so-called digitalization. There is the transformation of labor market from the point of view of employment, from the point of view of availability of pension rights formation. Well, we have more than 80 million people who are able for labor, and what digitalization, where digitalization brings us. Already now, the self-employed population, due to pandemic, digitalization has grown by 6 times. Can these people form their pension rights? Nobody explained them that they can count on pension, even on the level available now to any able person who has a working place in the system, and where person is hired by an employer. Well, approximately 30 years ago, the pensioners took care of this. At one of the congresses some time ago, I heard about the problems of transformation of labor market due to digitalization, and then I could not understand what they were speaking about. Well, they were preparing to this situation, started preparation 30 years ago, and now they are ready. And we believe that our pensioners are only 43.9 million people. It's not this situation. All the people are insured, and they are now participants of a pension provision. And nobody has counted the pension debt here in this country. But in the developed countries, there is such a thing. What are the criteria? Pension provision is not just the pension itself, which is not really great, though it's adequate to the labor input, and even more. And a couple of figures in the end, just to bringing me to the final thought. Why in all the ratings we are out of the developed countries, we are somewhere on one of the 3 last places, because you have to evaluate not by the size of the pension, but by its availability. What do you need for this? The basis is the material provision. You can see in other countries the figures on the other countries. Our pension system is considered as the burden on business here in this country, as a non-effective cost. But all globally, there is the practice of macroeconomic mechanism of budget and financial redistribution between the labor-able and non-able population. We have to grow the role, to increase the role and the function of the state, of the government. Globally, this problem is solved scientifically. They have only to transfer to practice. And the increase of the role, strengthening of the role of the government in the material provision. When if the person loses his or her ability due to the digital development and needs to get the pension, then the government should provide this pension. The basic approach, the basic income in different formats in the number of countries. The experiments have shown its validity. And here in this country, we also need to provide the scientific validation of the level of provision in older age, so that a person could feel him or herself a valuable member of the society. It's just my idea, which I shared, to make you start thinking about all the generations. Thank you for your attention.